This month is the theme, as Reverend Vaughn came up in his, what do we call that? Affirmation song, is freedom from all discord. And what we believe, which is on page 3 of here, there's one section that says, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and the goal, that this goal is sure to be attained by all. However, I'm not really talking about discord today. Because I have freedom. And I can have the freedom to choose something different. Just like each of us do. We each have that freedom in our lives, which road to take, which, And what came up this week a lot was about graduation. Because, of course, next week is our youngest daughter's graduating from college, which has been for her a 5-year process. And she's declared she's ready to be done. And I can understand that, that's a long time. We had 4 years in ministerial school, and that seemed like a long time. And what is graduation? It's a time of completion. The completion of one leg of the journey. Like, I don't know how many times you've graduated from something. I've graduated from quite a few things. And each time it opens up a new path and a new journey. I believe you asked today what she's going to do with this, and right now she had applied for an internship at the Seattle Repertory Theater. And one of her dreams, I believe, I could say that, is she would like to get the drama teacher job at her old alma mater. And because she's very good at what she does, at directing. And she's very good with her cast. I mean, I think a lot of directors are, they're the gods, you bow down to them or whatever. I don't know. I've never been in that. But we've seen her with her crew and her actors, and heard from the actors, how compassionate and understanding. And she's a teacher, she is. And so sometimes when we get to this point, right now, she's not exactly sure where that's going to go. And a lot of times in life, we don't know sometimes from day to day exactly what leg of our journey we're on. Because things change, things shift. Meister Eckhart said, I actually stole this from somebody that posted this on Facebook this morning. She is taking over the senior minister pulpit, or whatever you call it, at Genesis. Today's her first day. Reverend Gail Dillon. And she posted this because it's a new journey for her. And I said, I'm taking this because I loved what it said. And suddenly it's time to start something new. And trust the magic of beginnings. That's by Meister Eckhart. And I thought that is so true. If we open up to new beginnings, there's so many times we dread. I know I am one that a lot of times I was so grateful that I was at Boeing for so many years because I never had to do a job interview after that. I mean, I did different interviews there to change the job, but I wasn't going out and actually doing it because that petrifies me. But in this, it's sometimes, like it says, when one door closes, another one opens. And I was reading something, somebody had posted these 10 things you don't say to people who have gone through a loss or something, and that's one of them. Because at that moment, they don't need to hear that. And I realized that is so true because sometimes when one door closes, we just need to pause. We don't need to rush into something else. Because sometimes we rush into things and we haven't completed We thought that door was closed, but there's little trailings of stuff going on. Just like when you lose somebody, it is so important that you allow yourself to grieve. So many people, you know, they keep it to themselves, they hold it in. It's going to get you. Someday down the road, when you least expect it, or when another event happens, it's going to bring that all up, and it's going to flood you over. It's going to drown you. I was fortunate with my second partner. When my first partner died, I didn't know about grief and loss. I had AA at the time, and believe me, that was my refuge a lot of times. But when my second partner died, he had been at Northwest Hospital, and that's a great place to be. They almost dragged me, you know, kicking and screaming to a grief and loss meeting. And to me, that was one of the, it's really hard to describe it because, like I say, you walk in that room and you didn't know a soul. When you left, you knew everybody in that room on an intimate level because you were all there for the same reason. And so sometimes we just need that time to pause and maybe reflect and to go within and see, okay, really, what is next? What door should I open? And then there's times too when I have to read these quotes. I think this is so true. This one's they're very similar. This one's by Alexander Graham Bell. When one door closes, another opens. But we so often look so long and so regretful upon the door that's closed that we do not see the one which opens for us. We're so focusing on where we've been that we can't see the future. There's a big cloud or something there. And then this one's from Helen Keller. It's very similar. It says, when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been opened for us. And I find that so true with myself. Sometimes I just... Never mind. That gave me a pause. And sometimes when we are so attached, like I said, to the past, that we can't see what's in our future. We need to release and let go. And that is so hard to do because, see, the past is already known. We know what it is. We experience, even though it may not be that great, it's a known entity. And like my mother stayed married to my stepfather for so many years, taking the beatings and whatnot all, and she had said later on, because basically it was, and where was she going to go with all of us kids? And so sometimes we stay in situations that are unhealthy to us, instead of reaching out for an open door, or opening a door sometimes. Sometimes we have to open it, but then we have to step through. Like in the Matrix, Morpheus says to Neo, he says, I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it. And that's with our lives too. We can be shown door after door after door, but we have to have the initiative to step forward and to do that. The world, is full of opportunities. They say opportunity is always knocking. So we have choices. That, I think, out of everything I've learned in the last, I don't know how many, since I've been in religious science, is the idea of choice. Because before that, I never really thought I had a choice. That everything was mapped out, that I had to follow some blueprint in life. And that's not true. Because we can change our lives, even if we choose something that we think is really great. We'll pray about it, and we want this, we got this, and then we get it. And it's like, oh, that wasn't really what I wanted. So that's a lot of times when we have to focus on what do I really want? What I want, what does that represent in my life? I know somebody that used a red Corvette as an example. When they got it, it really wasn't what they wanted. It was something altogether different. But that symbolized, that was a symbol of what she wanted. So sometimes in life, we have to sit down and we have to be still. I like that part in the song where it says, I really like this because sometimes it's a challenge to do that. If I could turn down the noise of my own will. Well, to me it's the noise of the committee that meets when I'm trying to be still or trying to meditate or whatever. That's when they have their board meeting. And there's a lot of them there. And they're loud. And they're obnoxious. And then it says, if I could do that, I could hear the truth of my life in a clear voice. And to me, I mean, I had to, after listening to the song a few times, and I always pull up the lyrics so I know what the lyrics actually are saying, because sometimes I hear a song and then I look at the lyrics and I go, that's what it says? Oh, I thought it said this. Because the hearing sometimes isn't, always the greatest. And so when I went through this, it just like, that still small voice that is within us. That's our own true self speaking. Because sometimes we don't know what we want. I speak from experience on it. That's one of the, I think that is the toughest question that I ever get is, what do you want? Because sometimes for me it is so hard to put into words what I want, and then there's always that fact that if I get what I want, you're not going to get what you want. And that's one of those big fallacies that it's not true, because there is enough to go around. There's plenty in this world. And in the song too, another line, life's going to take you where you never thought you'd go. Amen to that. Because I never thought I would be doing this. It was never in my conscious mind, subconsciously possibly. But I never thought that I would be on this journey at this time in my life. Because for one thing, I never thought I would be alive at this time in my life. Because I'm 65, and when I was in my 20s, the way I lived my life in my 20s, I would never have made it to this age if I'd have continued on that path. So somewhere along the line, life changed me. Divine intervention, individuals were divine intervention acting through those people, allowed me to see and to want to live and to want to be a contributing individual in this life. Because at that point I was contributing to what was I contributing to? The bars. I was contributing income, so I guess that's a good thing. But I wasn't contributing much to myself. But I had to go to a certain point, and we all have to, whatever it is. We have to go to a certain point, and sometimes we go too far. We have to really hit bottom. Like in AA, like alcoholics or drug addicts or people that are addicted to food or all these, whatever. There's high bottoms and there's low bottoms, and there's every bottom in between. So for each person, it has to be what is their bottom and where they want to say, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I won't do this anymore. And I need help. And that's a thing, like when you're in that pause between doors, so many times people think that asking for help is weakness. And it's not. It's actually strength. I've learned that, and I've been discussing that with some people in the Toastmasters, because I was area director, it's almost up, end of June it'll be done, but there's a couple groups which I have asked if they would consider getting, because you can get a what they call a coach if your group falls below so many members. One group asked for a coach, and they are thriving right now. I mean, I'm really, they're my pride and joy at the moment. Well, then there's this other group that they don't want, they said, no, we can do it ourselves, all this and that. And sometimes we can do it ourselves. But you know what? It makes it a heck of a lot easier when you've got help. When there's people that have your back, that are supporting you, that are raising you up. Like the wind beneath our wings. You know, sometimes we need somebody on each side of us to hold us up until we can get walking. When I was going through survival training before going to Vietnam, I was 18. We had old people in there. They were in their 30s. You know, and I look back now and I go, whoa. And you know, we had a Marine instructor. I was in the Navy, but we had a Marine instructor because you know you had to be tough to survive in the survival training. And what would happen is when some of these older and maybe a little overweight would fall behind, and the rest of us would be down doing push-ups. I hate push-ups. I hate push-ups. And so eventually we got it. We got what they were trying to teach us. When somebody fell behind, two people would go back. They would one arm under each arm and help that person along. And that the Marine instructor said, you know, you got it. You have to work together. That's what it's all about. You help each other. And that's in this life. And we were at a movie last night, which we didn't get to see the end because of technical difficulties. It was called Love is a Verb. It's part of the meaningful movie. And it's a powerful thing because this I forgot his name, Glenn, I forgot his first name. Anyway, he started this movement. I don't know if he intentionally started it or it just happened. But starting of these schools and teaching and educating girls, and this is over like in Turkey and stuff where, you know, that's not a thing that they do, and different things he did. Now, he's considered a terrorist in his own country. He is in the United States here. But this whole thing about he says, you go out, and I like the one part, you make money, yes, but then you help with that money. Make all the money you want, but then you help with that money to educate, for hospitals. You know, you reach out to care for each other. I mean, if you've got billions of dollars, you're not going to take it with you. God knows you're not taking it with you. Why can't? Well, that's another soapbox. That's another talk. That's another arena. But still, that we all are responsible. And last month was about responsibility, and even part of this talk that was supposed to be for today, which I shifted because I can, was about being responsible in different areas, like in politics, in economics, and everywhere down the road, education. Because we are responsible for in some ways, for our brothers and our sisters. And for those that sometimes need a little help, just as we need a little help now and then. So when in the idea of graduation, or the one door opening and a new one open, one door closing, they're all opening. What if it's a revolving door? Sometimes you get caught in that revolving door, and then somebody stops it and you go flying out. That just, the idea of the doors and the graduation and the different legs of a journey is, I did a talk one time about past lives, and that's what it reminds me of. Because if you think about your life, you know, you're with your parents, and that all changes when you leave. And then some of us went in the military, some of us went to college, you know, all that. I mean, it's constantly changing. And that others, it's still part of our life, but it's kind of our old life, our past life. And I've counted so many times how many past lives I felt I had. It's like, oh my God. When I first mentioned the word past lives one time, people go, oh no, that one. And I said, past lives in this life, in this 60-some years, there's many, many, many times, you change, things change, from jobs, from, like you go from family to school to your job to relationship to relationship to relationship sometimes. And each time, that's another door. It's a past life. It's a step. It's a graduation. You're moving from one to another. And so as we gradually move through this life, and sometimes it's not gradually, sometimes it goes entirely way too fast. Entirely too fast. I look back and I go, where did all these years go? I don't regret them. I don't regret the choices I've made. I've made some that weren't so good, but I've made some that were very good. And that's each of us. I mean, and that's why we don't beat ourselves up when Reverend Ron was reading that's the thing that came across is, you compare I do that a lot, I compare myself. Especially when we were going through ministerial school. Together. Because, he's a reader. I have challenges reading. When he writes a lot, I don't. So I'm thinking that, okay, so am I wrong? No. It's all how we, as individuals, do move through this life. And if we quit comparing, I have to heed my own words, and do the best that we can, be who we came here to be, because only each of us can do that. I can't be you, and I can't be anybody here. All I can be is who I am, and be true to myself. And so upon what we need to do to move from that closed door to the open door, so we're not focusing on what's behind us, so we're focusing in front of us, we need to be more aware of our thoughts. Because we know that what we focus on persists. If we're focused on something negative, we'll probably get a little bit more of that negative. If we can shift that. So it's just being aware. Like, oh, I have somebody in my household that reminds me sometimes when I say something negative about myself. You probably don't know that person. And I do need that reminder now and then. Because sometimes it's so much easier to beat yourself up than do something about it. So we need to just remember and focus on what we're thinking. In AA we used to call that stinking thinking. You get thinking these negative or whatever thoughts, and that's not going to help us. And then we have to have the desire to be free of those negative thoughts, and to be in that stuck place. Like it's okay to be in that pause between the doors. Just like in the 23rd Psalm, it says, where you move through the valley of the shadow of death, you don't set up. I loved it when Reverend Kathy Ann said that when I first heard that. You don't set up camp there, you don't buy a condo, you're moving through. And in life we have periods and moments where we have to move through. And it can be painful. But allow ourselves to feel that. And so we don't get caught in that stuck place. So we need a desire to be free of that. And then our mind, I think some of the best things for us to do when one door closes and we're not sure which door to take, is you've got meditation, you've got if I can say it, visual, how do you say it? Somebody help.
Visualization.
Thank you. Sometimes words just won't come out. And even affirmations. I know when I was first in AA, there was on page 449, it says, I had that written out on my bathroom mirror about acceptance, accepting every person, place, and situation exactly as they are. And I love one part it says in there about I'm a big critic. You know, the world is a stage, and I'm the one of the biggest critics, and that's true. I can be. So if we take and we allow ourselves that time to be still, even minutes or seconds in the grocery line, anywhere, we could just stop. Because sometimes in the line, you've got time. Just stop and allow yourself to that peace that can fill you and to just relax you and move you into that next step. Because if we focus on a negativity and drop our pens, then we're going to be stuck. So I just invite you this week just to pay attention. And like Bob Newhart says, stop it. When we're doing something that we're thinking about, just stop it and move forward. And so it is.
And so it is.